Hello and welcome to another exciting Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be learning about materials and how to use the Sculpt brush to create this really cool Terminator robot. Let's get started. When you're figuring out how to do something complex like this, it's good. Two things are good. One, look at reference, and the other thing is find a base mesh you can start with. So I've looked online for a reference image of the Terminator robot, and this will be a good one to work with. So we'll just have this up as a reference. I'll just stick this over to the side so I've got something on a separate monitor I can look at. The other thing is we're going to head over to Sketchfab, and I'll put a link to this particular model in the description down below so you can get it. But there's a free 3D download here of this, basically a scan of someone's skull and a little bit of spine by J-A-G-A-K. Anyways, really cool 3D model. This is going to give us the head start we need to get this to work. So let's go ahead and download that and pop down here. And now it's going to come down as I've downloaded the STL version of the file. So I'm going to hit A to select all and X to delete just to clear things out. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to come up here and go File and Import. And right here, STL is the format. Let's go to it. There we go. And I know that this is quite large, so I'm going to bring the scale down to 0.1. And I'll click Import. There it is. I'll scale it down a little bit so it's not completely giant. Now, it could be useful for us to split the view and have this picture, this Terminator picture up on the other side. So I'm going to save that image from the web browser. And I'm going to split my view. And I'm going to switch this one to the image editor. And I'm going to click Open. And I'm going to grab that image. There we go. Cool. Now, in order to make this a little bit easier to read visually, we're going to switch modes. We're just going to come over here to flat shaded, but we're going to switch this to matte cap. And I'll pick the red color, and I'm going to turn on cavity. And I'll switch this from screen to both, just to get lots of cavity information. And this will help us see all the sort of details, the rise and falls of the shape, and how it's all working. Cool. Now, this is a very dense mesh. If I have a look at the wireframe, you can see it's a bit ridiculous how dense this mesh is. Now, we will need a lot of density to do some really good sculpting, but probably don't need this much. So we're going to go into edit mode, and it's slow getting into edit mode. I'm going to hit A to select all, and we're going to hit F3 and type in decimate. And I'm going to hit decimate, and I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to decimate maybe by 0.5. So just have a look. See, it still looks pretty much the same, but it's a little bit more lightweight now. So that'll help us out a little bit. Okay, so how would you go from this to this, right? So my approach is to take this basic shape of this skull, and then we're going to use the sculpting tools in Blender to shape out the skull here so that we can get the detail that we want to create this kind of image. And then we're also going to do a lot of work in the shaders to get this to look the way we want it to. So let's go ahead and select the skull, and I'm going to make my sculpting view a little bit bigger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the grid because it's like intersecting his face. So I'll just turn off the floor and the axes. And I'm going to go tab. So I've got tab gives me this pie menu, which you can get in the settings, but we're just going to here. We can switch to sculpt mode. And we've got tons of different sculpt brushes. And let me give you the basics. So if you've never done any sculpting in Blender before, all of your brushes are over here. You've got masks and stuff you can paint, only select certain parts, but the basic gist of it are going to be these guys up here. And what we want to do is you can use the radius to change the size of your brush, and you change the strength to change how intense it is, and you have this plus and minus for whether or not you want it to be pulling out or pushing in. And that's the gist. That's the basics of it right there. That's all you really need to know. Now, we're going to start off by smoothing this out. So I want to have more of a smooth skull. So I'm going to come here to the smooth tool, and I'll increase my radius a little bit, and I'll keep my strength, I guess, at 0.7. That's fine. And I'm just going to go around like this, and you can see that it's going to smooth out all these bumps. And I don't want to smooth too much around the teeth. I want to be careful not to lose that detail. But I can smooth this out, maybe make my radius a little bit smaller. And there we go. Now, as I do this tutorial, I'll speed ramp certain parts of this so that you can see me do it quicker. Once I explain the concept, there's going to be just a lot of painting strokes and stuff. So next thing I want to do is I want to kind of break out the teeth a little bit. They're kind of there's not a lot of definition here between the lip and the teeth, like the gum. And I want to make sure I get some hard lines here so we can kind of separate these guys. We've got a bit of an overbite as well, but I'm not really going to worry about that. I don't believe, let's see, is this a separate object? Let's go into edit mode and we'll just hit L to select linked. And yeah, okay, it is a separate object. So maybe what we could do is we could rotate the jaw a little bit. So I'll set the pivot point for all these guys to be the 3D cursor because it's kind of right up here in the center of the jaw area. So, and if you didn't have that, by the way, you could just select the top part of the jaw here and go Shift S, cursor to selected. That'll put the cursor right in the middle there. Then we could set the pivot point to the 3D cursor, and I can rotate X and just bring it down a little bit. It's going to turn off my overlays so I can see what this looks like. Mouth, because I love that scary looking breathing. Now, to get this definition, I'm going to use the Draw Sharp brush. I'm going to zoom right in here. I'm going to make my radius quite small, so just holding down Shift to increase the amount that I travel by. And I'll just come up here and I'll create some indents like this. We'll break it up. So I want to create a bit more separation between these teeth here. And you can see the geometry is not quite giving me enough there to really work with. But that's fine. Okay, now the brow has got this, like, he's got this evil, you know, his eyes are naturally kind of down a bit as opposed to this open brow that we have here. So to create this shape, what I want to do is actually just use the grab tool, which is this one here. I'll turn my radius up. And I can just come up here and just grab the brow down like this. And sometimes what's easy is you turn on X mirroring. That will do it on both sides at the same time. So you can keep it feeling unified. So now we've got this nice, like, angry looking brow. Now I feel like we need to widen his jaw. See how like fat that jaw is. So let's take using the grab tool, and let's just pull his jaw out like this. All right, cool. Now to get some of these mechanical shapes, I'm going to come up to, let's see what I want. I use the inflate tool. I'll turn the radius down again, and I'll just do some inflating along the brow here. And I might inflate a little bit on the cheekbones. Likewise, we can go in by switching to the minus, and then I can like push in these sections here. We are going to get a bit of cut through with the stuff that's on the other side there. Okay, now I feel like I want to kind of grab this stuff and move these guys up a bit. Kind of create a bit more of a cavity. Kind of mirroring this look here. Now I'm going to use the Draw Sharp and turn it right down. And I'm going to come in here and maybe draw some mechanical gaps. Let's make some interesting shapes. It's kind of cool. Now we can also use this one, the pinch tool, and this is going to draw things together. And this is great for creating, you know, sharper edges. So I can pinch this together, for example, and you see I'll get more of a sharp line. I've got the flatten tool. Yeah, that makes this feel a bit like more like a mechanical flat surface. Create these different planes, right? With the flatten tool. And then we could sharpen them with the pinch. That. Now it really feels like a metallic kind of surface, more of a manufactured surface. Come over here and flatten some of these. I'm getting some weird results though. Might turn off X mirroring because it's doing some bizarre stuff. Cool. All right, so now that we've sculpted that out, looks nice. Let's switch over to rendered view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Eevee. And let's try something. I'm going to create a camera. So Shift A, camera. I'm going to look through the camera's lens. Then I'm going to lock the camera to view and come back. Right. Unlock the camera to view and then expand my view. And I'll go to my camera tab and I'm going to go down to viewport display and turn up pathbar 2. And then I'm going to bring up my shader editor. And I'm going to switch from object to world. And the world is the giant sphere that sort of surrounds my scene. It's where this gray color is coming from. So you can see all that exists in my world shader right now is just this. But let's try something. Let's grab an image. I'm just going to see if this works. We'll grab the one image that we've loaded in, the reference here, and I'll plug this into the color of my background. And let's see. Actually, instead of just an image, I need to use an environment texture. And then I can grab the same image. And environment texture will actually wrap it around as if it's like surrounding my scene. Then what I can do is I can come here and I can grab a mapping node. And from this vector, I can grab a texture coordinate node. Just stick that through the generated. And now I can rotate this around. I'm just seeing if we use this image, can we, get similar lighting. And then let's create a Shift A light sunlight. And with that sunlight, I'm going to rotate it around. Anyways, now that we've got this camera angle, let's take the skull, and I'm going to come here and click New to create a new shader. And the shader, I'm going to switch back to my shader editor from world to object. So in the shader editor here, we've got this material. It's got a principled BSDF node, which is the standard node that simulates the surface, and it's plugged into the surface material output. And we're going to turn up metallic. We want this guy to be made of metal. So I'll turn metallic all the way up. You can see already it starts to look right. I'm also going to go to my render settings real quick and just make sure I've got ray tracing turned on. And I'll leave everything as is. Now, I'm going to bring the roughness of this metallic surface right down. So it's quite smooth. Now, the lower the roughness value, the more reflective it gets. It becomes like a mirror as it goes all the way to 0. Okay. So if you see here, we got this like texture across the surface of the sky. It looks like dirt and grime and stuff. So let's try and imitate that. What I'll do is I'll take a noise texture and I'll take the factor and I'll drag it and then type in color ramp and I'll put it into the factor. And I'll take the color and I'll plug it into the roughness. So what we're going to do now is use this noise to drive how reflective it is at different points. So I could just bring this up a little bit, bring this down. White will be like completely opaque, not reflective at all. And I don't want that. So I'm going to bring this down a bit to a bit of a gray. And I'll bring this one off black so it's never perfectly like a mirror. And what I'll do is I'll take the detail up and the roughness way up. And then I can bring the scale down, and that will give me some really nice variation, maybe a tiny bit of distortion, just a little bit to kind of twist it up. Now I also want to have some bump on here. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab a bump node and we'll drop it here. And we'll use the same system. I'll just bring this here and I'll bring this and I'll plug it into the height and I'll take the normal into the normal. Now we're going to need to decrease the distance. The distance is way too big. So I'm going to take this down to 0.01. Maybe you can see the bump there. Quite nice. I'm going to make sure my camera's focus isn't messing with us too much. So I'll set that to 1. Yep. Now let's get the eyes in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift right click inside the eye socket. That will project my 3D cursor in there. Then I can shift A, mesh UV sphere. And I can scale this UV sphere down. And I'm going to rotate it towards us. So rotate X 90. And that will put the, if you look at the UV sphere, you can see the way the geometry is shaped. We've got this point here. So I'm going to go into edit mode. And I will go to vertex selection mode right up here. And I'll select that center vertex. And then I'm going to control plus once and then twice to expand that selection. Now I'm going to hit E and I will grab Y and push it right back. And I can't see it properly, so I'm going to hit backslash on my number keypad, and that will isolate my selection around this object. I'm going to hit E and S and scale it down like this. And then I'm going to come over here to my materials, And I'll click new to put a new shader on it. And then I'm going to click the plus symbol to add a new material slot. And I'll click new to create a new material there. And I'm going to click assign. So it will assign material 3 to just these faces. Now I can change this from a principled BSDA shader to an emission shader and make it red. Turn it up a little bit. Right? If we go back to rendered view, you can see that that bit is now red. And the rest of it is using this material, which for this one, I think what I'll do is I'll make it metallic as well. Bring the roughness down and maybe right click shade smooth. So go out of edit mode, right click shade smooth. Back in edit mode, I want to sharpen up this edge. So I'm going to go to edge mode and then control B to bevel. And I'll just bevel that edge so it's a bit sharper there. And I might bevel, let's see, actually, I'll do a bigger bevel for that. So control B to bevel, and I'll bevel like this. And then I'll grab that edge and control B, bevel both of those and just shift it a little bit. That helps the light reflect a little bit better. That looks pretty good. All right, cool. So I can hit backslash on my never keypad to get rid of that again. I'll bring the base color down on this eyeball, and I'm going to bring it forward. It needs to sit kind of in the eye socket. Just position that. Let's have a look. Now I'm going to grab that glowy material, and we can maybe turn it up a bit more. There's sort of 2 layers to it, so we've got like a red glow, and then inside is even brighter one. So let's try and do that. We're going to go into edit mode. You take this inner circle, so I'm going to go to face mode, and then hold down Alt and click. Try and get one of those edges. Oh, actually, it's not going to work. I'm just going to hold down C. I'm going to grab C, the brush selection, by hitting C, and just click there, and then hit Escape to leave brush selection, and that will let me select those guys really quickly. And I'm going to create a new shader slot. Click, actually, I'll assign the glowy material to it, and then I'll click the little double paper icon, which copies that material, makes a new version of it. So you can see the name changed to .004. And for this one, I'm going to click assign to assign it there, and then I'm going to turn the brightness up. So now I've got sort of 2 levels of that. I'm going to Shift E to duplicate and X to lock it on the X and just bring it over here. Now I've got my eyeballs. They look pretty well centered, I think. Might make the outer one not as dark. So we'll grab both of these, go into edit mode. And I will hit Control Plus. That will expand that selection. So we've got that whole bit now. And then maybe one more to get that whole inner bit, and then grab Y, and we're going to bring it forward like this. And yeah, now we're getting the glow sort of in and around there. That looks good. Cool. All right. Now we need to drop the brow further to get that real angry look. Before we do that though, let's Shift right click in there and Shift A mesh UV sphere again, and we'll scale this one down. Right click shade smooth. And this one, let's just put it kind of inside where the nose is. And then we could just throw on the same material we've got for the outer bit of the eye. We're going to take the brow and we're going to go back into sculpt mode, and then we're going to use the grab tool and make sure that my X mirroring is turned on, and then we can just grab the brow and just bring it down like this. All right, let's take the teeth now. I'm going to go into edit mode. And what we need to do is select these teeth. And it's going to be a little tricky because there's no, they're not separated out. So what we can do is, let's see, we're just going to have to paint the selection. So I'm going to use C to get my brush selection tool, and I'm just going to paint the selection here. Just carefully doing my best just to get teeth. Painted in most of the teeth, the little bits that I'm missing, but that'll be all right. I'm going to click plus to create a new material slot, new to create a new material, and assign to assign that material to those teeth. Now if I leave edit mode, you can see we've got the teeth there. Basically painted that new material onto it. Now let's make a tooth material. We're going to bring our base color a little bit into the orange. And then I'm going to come down to subsurface, and I'll turn the weight up to 1. There's like a light over on this side, isn't there? Like an orange. And the other side has got a bluish tone to it. I feel like these teeth are a bit too bright, and we've definitely got too much painted in for that material. So let's take some of the life out of these guys. Come here to the teeth. I'm just going to make them a bit of a darker gray. I'm going to add in a little bit more like metallic plating to this guy. So I'm going to come up to my material here, and I'm going to add in a Voronoi shader. And I will take the Euclidean setting. We're going to switch to Chebyshev. And I'll drop the distance into a color ramp factor. And then I'm going to grab a mix color. And mix color. Oops. And I'll set the color to, let's see, blending mode to multiply. And then I'll take the output from this one, and I will pop it into here, turn the factor all the way up to 1, and I'll take the result into the height. And then what I'll do is I'm going to bring this one over, I'll bring this one close to it, somewhere around in here. Then I'm going to create a second pip, and I'll bring it on the other side of that black one. So you end up with this like pure white and then like a little black line, right? And then we can get these kind of lines going on his face. I might bring the scale down as well. And I want to enhance them a little bit so they're a bit stronger. So what I might do is bring the distance up, right? And then really soften this. And I can turn this way down. We can use the factor, so we can kind of mix in just a tiny bit of that other one for the bump. That looks pretty cool. So you can see how like now we're getting this line right down his head, which looks cool. We can sharpen that up. That looks great. So sometimes what you can do to kind of like, I don't know, cheat a little bit and create some extra geo quickly for something like this, it's to duplicate what you started with and move it around. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to duplicate this guy. And then I'm going to, let's see, rotate him on the Z, 180, right? And then rotate him on the X, 90. And then grab Z, bring this down, and go. Line that up maybe with his spine. Then we could like duplicate this, right? Move it over. And rotate it Y, negative 90. Rotate Y 180, grab Y, X, bring this over like that. Now we got some shoulders. All right, next thing we need to have are these wires that are kind of coming down off the side. So what I'm going to do is I'll just come over here and I'll just shift right click again to project my 3D cursor over there. I'm going to go shift A, curve, Bezier. And I'm going to come down here to the curve tab, and under geometry, I'm going to go down to depth, and I'll just increase that up a little bit, and that makes it like a tube. And I can go into edit mode on this guy, and let's see, I want it to kind of start up here and move down over here somewhere. So I'm going to shift right click to put my cursor there, and then I'll grab that one. So I'm going to make sure I just have the vertex itself. Then shift S, selection to cursor. I'm going to scale it down and just kind of rotate it a little bit like that. And then this one over here, I'm going to put that one like right here. So selection to cursor, scale that around a little bit, that kind of a deal. I can shift D to duplicate this. Actually, first before we do that, let's create a material for it. So I'm going to come down to materials, click new. And what's cool about splines, they have a built-in UV already done on them. So we can use that to create this kind of ribbed pattern. So what I'm going to do is turn metallic up to 1. Zoom in a little bit on this guy so we can really see it. And we can come here and we're going to create a bump. So bump. And then I want to create let me use the wave texture. And then take the factor into a color ramp factor. And then color into the height. And then normal into the normal. Then what we want to do is we want to tell it to use the UV. So we're going to come over here, and I think we could just use, say, UV. That should do it. And we can turn the scale up. And you can see we get these little rib patterns. So turn this down, because right now the bump is too large to even show up. So we got to turn it right down. That looks pretty good there. And then I can take this roughness right down as well. And we can also go in here and we can like duplicate these guys. And this, go into edit mode and hit A to select all and X to delete all the vertices from it. And then we can come over to the draw tool, set it to surface. And now what we can do is we can actually draw onto the surface of this guy. We'll get and there you have it. We've got the final image. Hope you really enjoyed this tutorial and learned a lot of cool things about how you can be creating images in Blender. If you want to check out the full uncut version of this tutorial to get to this final image, head over to Patreon and join up there at any tier, or you can join on YouTube at the All Access Pass level or higher. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to get this project file, you can join on Patreon at the second tier and up. You get the project files there. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Until then, have a fantastic week. Special thanks to everybody who already supports this channel on Patreon and on YouTube. Really appreciate all of you. And thank you for watching right to the end. I'll catch you later. Until then, have a great one. Bye.